Lithium, my beloved. Lithium, my detested. Lithium, my life raft in the middle of the ocean. Oh, lithium, 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 lithium. I have so much to say about this medication, but I'm going to try to condense it down into a short video for you guys. But just know that I have more to say and more thoughts and more opinions on lithium than I do any other medication I've ever taken in my entire life. So let's get started. So all the way back in 1871, there was a physician by the name of William Hammond who used lithium to treat mania in some of his patients. Long story short, it worked, but the thing is, it would take another 100 years for lithium to be approved by the FDA in the United States to treat mania. And lithium is absolutely amazing for mania, trust me, I'm an evidence of that. But the true value of lithium lies in its ability to prevent bipolar relapse, specifically bipolar depression. And unfortunately, like many psych drugs, its mechanism of action in the body is largely unknown. Now, when someone takes lithium, basically the psychiatrist is giving them a dose that will achieve a certain level in their bloodstream. And I can't really speak for other drugs on this, but I know lithium has 3 specific levels that can be targeted with it, and I'm going to go over what each of those levels will do. The lowest level, which is the level I'm on now, does have benefits, and now these benefits are actually found in higher doses as well. But the lowest level gives you neuroprotective effects, meaning that literally your dendrites, which are parts of your neurons, will actually regrow like in your brain, which is really cool because I have mild brain damage from my episodes and everything. So that's pretty cool. And it also has an effect of lowering the risk of unaliving yourself, which for me, I've been in that bad place several times before, so taking something that helps with that, yeah, I'll take it. And the next thing is the medium dose, and this is where I was on the longest. For like 5 years I took this, and plenty of people with bipolar disorder also take the medium dose for a long time because that's the maintenance dose, meaning that's the one that prevents relapse. That's where lithium's true value lies. And then there's the high dose, which is done temporarily, and it's for treatment of acute mania. So if someone is admitted to the hospital with a really bad manic episode, they'll often put them on a higher dose of lithium and in the hopes that it will help it, and most of the time it does. But because lithium is based off the levels in someone's blood, the dose that I take might not be the same dose that, say, you would take. So honestly, early lithium treatment is a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of blood work. It's a little bit of guessing. Not a lot of guessing, but it's a little bit of guessing. And so it takes a lot of patience to find the dose that's actually right for you, to target those therapeutic ranges. And for many people, all of that work is worth it. For me, it was worth it. And so let's get started with the review. So the first thing I want to go over is what is it like to actually take lithium, like physically. And so I'm going to show you the pills. They're actually not very big at all. They're quite small. And so this is the instant release form. This is 300 milligrams tablets. I took 2 of these every night for years. And if I didn't get them down on the first try, it wasn't horrible, unlike lamotrigine. And the thing is, like, also the one I take now, which is half that, I take this little 150 milligram pill. This one also, if it doesn't go down the first time, it's also not miserable. So honestly, I also had an extended release form and it was the same way. And so because it was not miserable when I didn't get it down the first time, because that's my big thing, is like, is it bitter? Is it gross? Does it dissolve? Is it gooky? And it wasn't any of those things. So honestly, I'd rate taking it physically 10 out of 10. Now let's talk side effects. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't sugarcoat anything on this channel, and I'm definitely not gonna sugarcoat what it's like to take lithium, and lithium may or may not, but totally does have the worst side effect profile of any medication I have ever been on by far. And I have been on quite a few medications at this point. To start, it made me pee all the time and it made me thirsty all the time, which is a miserable combination on a long car trip. And also when I took higher doses, but especially in the very beginning, I had a tremor. So like my hand would shake, probably similar to this and whatnot. And so my doctor, I told him about that and he put me on something called propranolol. And that really did help, but I had to take it like every 4 hours. And then I tried a daily pill and that was good, except that it messed with another health problem I have. And so my doctor put me on a high dose of vitamin B6, these pills here. Did that once a day and that took care of it. And then I was on, I don't even know, I started Zyprexa and Zyprexa gave me tremors, so I don't even know if I have lithium tremors anymore. But yeah, shakes will happen, totally common. Another unfortunate side effect, and one that made me question taking it all the time, was that sometimes, honestly, I'd get horrendous diarrhea. I mean, like at 2 a.m. I would wake up and I'd be like, my body hates me. And I would be stuck on the toilet for like 2 or 3 hours while my body just worked everything out. And it was so much pain that I was like praying to a God that I didn't even believe in at the time. Like it was pretty bad. But maybe that happened like once or twice a month and I got used to it. Eventually I was like, okay, this is gonna happen again. I just grab my phone and just deal with it. So yeah. Yeah, side effects. But nothing, absolutely nothing, compares to the hell on earth that is lithium nausea. So I learned pretty early on in taking lithium that I needed to take it with food. And the thing is, it's not even just any kind of food goes. For me, lithium was extremely picky about what counted as food versus what didn't count as food, to the point where I actually made a video talking about what worked for me and definitely what didn't. And I will link it up here in the description and at the end of this video if you want to see it. But basically, long story short, anything with protein was good, and somehow potatoes were okay. Don't ask me, I don't make the rules. But if I didn't eat the right kind of food and it was a horrendous trial and error process, everything would come right back up again. And this nausea, lithium nausea, is the worst nausea I have ever experienced. It's worse than a stomach bug. It's worse than throwing up drunk. It's even worse than food poisoning. I remember this one night in college where I thought it was a smart idea to eat Reese's Pieces as food according to lithium. And no, lithium did not count Reese's Pieces as food. And so a couple hours later, I'm hunched over the dorm toilet and like throwing my guts up, and it was so bad. Like everything was burning. I had some in my nose. I was having a hard time like getting breaths in between heaves, and I just remember thinking, like, can throwing up like actually kill you? Like the act of throwing up kill you? Because I honestly felt like I was dying. Like my life was kind of flashing before my eyes a little bit, and I was like, oh my gosh, what if I die here? Like what if this is the end? What's someone gonna think when they find me? Like seriously? Oh God, dramatic, I know, right? And really, I don't even know why lithium nausea is so horrible. It just, for me, it is. Anyway, enough about Kit's stories about puking. We're gonna rate side effects, all of them together, the ones that I just listed. 4 out of 10? No, let's not get down to 3.5 out of 10. Yeah, 3.5 out of 10. They're really not great. And now I want to talk about the bright shining light that is the effectiveness of lithium. Like, why did I stay on it for so long, enduring all those terrible side effects? So back in college, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 after a really bad breakup. I was suffering from the worst depression of my life, and my doctor put me on lithium to combat it. And it worked. It worked so well. I said in the beginning of the video that it was my life raft in the middle of the ocean, and I truly do mean that. Lithium saved me. And lithium brought me back to my old self. And I mean that loosely because, like, yes, I've been me the whole time, but I mean before I started psychiatric medication and before my disease really reared its ugly head, I felt like the old Kit before everything kind of got all muddled and not horrible, but very different, and I really valued that. And in addition to that, I had no issues like getting up in the morning, and I didn't even need coffee during the day. Like I had more energy. It was amazing. And I wasn't depressed at all. And the thing is, I firmly believe that lithium saved my life. Like I was in a really bad place, and while yes, I would later go on to go to even more bad places, at the time, I felt that if I kept on going down that path of depression, that I might not be here today. And so lithium saving me was a really big deal. And while its effects kind of petered out over time and it became less effective and the side effects really started making me question whether I wanted to keep taking it, it still worked initially. And that's the thing about lithium, is that it works. It works really, really well for so many people. That's why they prescribe it so much. So really, when I was diagnosed with a mood disorder, I knew that eventually I would be put on lithium sooner or later. And before I started taking the low dose I do now, I did take it for acute mania, and I can confirm it works for that as well. So I know that in the future, if I do have a really bad manic episode, I can talk to my doctor, he can put me back on that dose of lithium, and it will snap me out of it. And that's honestly a great security to have. So with the efficacy of lithium, with all of what I just said coming together, I'd rate it a 10 out of 10, but the effects didn't stay as good as they did when I first started taking it. So because it was less effective over time, I will be rating it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, 9 out of 10 sounds right. And the thing is, actually, it pained me to drop to the lower dose that I'm on now, because even though it was less effective over time, it was still working and helping me prevent episodes. But yeah, the nausea got to be too much for me, and I compromised with my doctor, and I said I take that little capsule now because I want those neuroprotective effects and I want that reduced risk of unaliving myself. Those things are important to me. And so overall, when I think about what it's like to take it, what the side effects are and how they affect me, and how effective the drug is itself, I think I'll rate lithium overall a 7 out of 10. Because again, it worked really well for me and it got me out of that rut, but the nausea had me thinking I was about to perish. So yeah, 7 out of 10 is probably the best it's gonna get from me. So are any of you guys on lithium? Have you ever taken lithium? Are you about to try lithium? All of that stuff, let me know in the comments section down below because I wanna hear your stories. Every medication affects everyone differently, and the way it affects me is not necessarily gonna be the way it affects you, someone you know, or someone else on the internet. And yes, in the comments section down below, you can keep the conversation going, but you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at SchizoKitzo. I love talking to you guys about mental health, and I love hearing your stories. Honestly, it really brightens my day to know that not only are you guys not alone, but it helps me know that I'm not alone as well. So with that out of the way, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching and joining me in making the uncomfortable comfortable. Bye bye.